Our group had Unit 2, which is progressivism. Progressivism was the years of 1890 through 1920, and it was a very significant thing, which is significant still in the world today. By definition, progressivism is a response to the economic and social problems the rapid industry has caused. It began as a social movement and quickly turned into a political movement. The people who supported it wanted to change and better the society. Okay. There are many important progressives from the era. One in particular was Ida B. Wells. She exposed lynching in its grotesque forms to the northern societies. She was also a founder of the NAACP and fought for racial and women's equality in the form of newspapers to share her stories, which was later ruined by the mob.
Okay.
She's an idiot.
Go.
Segregation was a large issue of the progressive era. Legal discrimination took part in many forms of literacy tests, poll taxes, and the grandfather clause. The Jim Crow laws segregated people by race, and the Plessy versus Ferguson Supreme Court case took place to uphold segregation in 1896. It claims not to violate the Constitution and that we are all separate but equal. The NAACP, or the National Association of the Advancement for Colored People, was a civil rights organization formed in 1909 as a biracial endeavor to advance justice and equality. The Niagara Movement joined the board of directors of the NAACP. The social gospel was a movement led by a group of Protestant progressives who wanted to fix the issues of the progressive era that they didn't agree with. This led to the beginning of the Salvation Army and the YMCA. They wanted to protect the social welfare.
The main goal of progressivism was to protect social welfare. The social gospel was an emphasis on the impact of good works over faith. Many attempted to raise moral standards through the promotion of the temperance movement. Muckrakers targeted many turn-of-the-century injustices brought on by a large increase of immigrants, the rapid growth of cities, unregulated big businesses, and the influence of political machines, as well as many other social problems. They revealed the high number of industrial accidents and advocated for tougher health and safety standards. Historians debate the exact dates, but generally date the progressive era from the 1890s to either World War I or the onset of the Great Depression, in response to perceived excess of the Gilded Age. Eliminating waste and corruption was a powerful element of the movement. Progressives repeatedly warned that illegal voting was corrupting the political system. They identified big city bosses as the culprits who stuffed the ballot boxes. The solution to purifying the vote included prohibition, voter registration requirements, and literacy tests. That's it.
Child labor laws began in the progressive era, and child labor really began to pick up in the industrial movement. But during the progressive era, people saw the wrongs, and child labor committees began to form legislators and laws restricting children and their areas in the work committees, and this became the progressive reform movement. I missed something.
Charles.
So women's role in the progressive era was rather small. They weren't working in homes as much anymore because of the Industrial Revolution. So there was some of the progressive era in getting them better work hours and safer work environments. They started campaigning for women's suffrage. However, this didn't really kick off now, but this leading in the progressive era ended up giving us women's suffrage. So African Americans and their role in the progressive movement was kind of the same as women's. Not much happened in the progressive movement for civil rights. However, the NAACP was created, National Association for Advancement of Colored People, and that was a big movement, which is one of the examples of the small civil rights. But again, this was something that was put into place that led for further help in the future. So Teddy Roosevelt was the president during the progressive era, and he trust busted many monopolies. He was a loud, encouraging president, which gave him a high approval rate. He helped create pro-labor laws, or better labor laws, and